Hi everyone, Carolyn for Stories What Happened at Carolyn Talks podcast. So my question is going to be for everyone, but I'm going to start with Monique because I want to talk. We've been talking about representation, of course, of Black women on here, but I want to talk a bit about body image because the thing that I really love about Holiday in Harlem is that our leading lady is a plus size, dark skin Black woman, which is something that rarely happens. Not only I would say in Hallmark films, but in Hollywood in general. So
Yes.
unless you have a very specific story being told, even by Black creatives, we rarely get to see plus size dark skinned Black women be the protagonist, be the leaders, also be the main love interest as well. Usually that's reserved, for the comedic role and for like the emotional support friend. So I want to talk to you, Monique, about creating a story with a character like Jasmine, and also the fact that her love story doesn't compromise her career, because again, this is a trope with a lot with like these kind of films in Hallmark and even with like Lifetime and other networks, where the if the woman has a high paying job in the city, she goes back home to a small town and she ends up sacrificing her career because she wants to find love back home. So she stays home and has to give up her high paying job. But we don't have that here because, as you said in Harlem, and Harlem is kind of like a small neighborhood. So we have this woman who is able to have her love and her career and her family all in the same place without sacrificing or compromising any of that. So can you talk about that story? And then for all of you ladies to talk about just body image in Hollywood and how you've been able to stay true to yourselves as Black women, and Black women, like we talk about it here, but just like being true to yourself as like in your full bodies and knowing who you are as Black women in this industry.
I wish I could take the credit for Olivia, but she was just number one on the casting sheet for Hallmark. And when I met her, I just was so excited to see a normal looking Black woman be the lead and the love interest, and someone who people, she is the love interest. She is who we're all looking for. So I wish I can take credit. That was just Hallmark's direction. And in terms of just constructing Jasmine, it was just based upon women that I know. And one of the things that Hallmark is really clear, that was really clear with me on, is that the protagonist couldn't leave her high powered job for a man. That wasn't about it. And in our story, Jasmine's journey is really everything. She's a fixer, and she moves because so much of her childhood, like many people regardless of ethnicity, has been unstable because she's a child of divorce. And so in terms of dealing with that, she's had a very traditional fight or flight response where she just takes off. And we were able to just kind of deal with that and walk with that through the film. And once that's healed, particularly when she goes through that rites of passage of learning how to do that mac and cheese, yes, I'm hitting that beat again. When that's healed, then she is open to love. She can see which she has blocked herself from seeing, because the concept of love has been kind of hurtful to her by seeing what her parents go through. So she's already had the job. It's really about, and I also found through my experience, it wasn't just about Jasmine finding love with this guy. It was, how does this exchange? Because the exchange is really important, from what my executives explained to me at Hallmark, between the two love interests. It's not just that they're cute. It's not just that they get along, but what can they teach one another that enhances not just them personally or as a couple, but also as a community. And when we see Jasmine and Caleb unite, it's the whole community is benefiting from that. So that's another thing that I learned just writing that. So it was a challenge, and like in the best possible way. I also really love that I was able to construct a character, and characters who Jasmine's issues with love happened to do with her parents, which everyone could deal with, and it wasn't rooted in some type of Black trauma. That was really, really important for me, and something that I'm really, really excited about.
And for the rest of you ladies, I'm just dealing with how you are able to like hold on to yourselves as Black women in this industry, because Hollywood is not easy and to deal with. And so just can talk a bit about, excuse me, sorry for that, um, about just remaining true to yourselves in the industry.
I'll start. I want to go back to the hair situation that Sheryl was talking about. I started in Vancouver. I still cannot believe that we have this issue still in Canada. I started working in Vancouver in 1986 on 21 Jump Street. So like, I feel like it's my second home. I've been going there for 35 plus years. The first day I landed on that Jump Street set, of course, there was nobody Black in the union, or no one Black that could do my hair or my makeup. So I had, you know, like I had the craziest makeup and I was only 22. So I really didn't have a voice to fuss at anybody about it, but it's crazy to me. And I'm always saying this on my movies to the hair and makeup people, some of them who I have groomed to know my colors, to know so I still think in this day and age, especially because there's so much content. When I was up there on Jump Street, there were maybe a few $1 million worth of productions up there. It's $3 billion worth of productions up there. Not just us, there's Netflix, there's Nickelodeon. So come on now. Like, it's time for us to get some people up there. And I told a couple, because there have been a lot of really great Black artists, hair and makeup artists that have come up for star requests. Like Kelly Rowland brought someone up, and this one brought someone up, Toni Braxton. So what would happen is a lot of them ended up staying there because there was so much work, because there were so many of us going up. So I just want to throw that in, that it's still baffling to me that in this day and age that we still have to deal with that. And that is still an issue. And quite honestly, not as much down here in LA. I had a similar situation where there's still a little bit of that going on, when I recently did an ABC show where there was nobody of color in the hair and makeup room. And so we still have a little bit of that going on. But now we're also armed with our own products and our own knowledge. And we know people that we can bring on. If you're telling me you don't know anybody, we have options. So just wanted to throw that in there, but that is still a little bit of a hill to climb.
A real hill to climb, because, you know, I was working and a young actress came up to me and she said, "Miss Ralph, I'm trying to get my hair done." And when she told me what the hair person said to her, I was appalled. He looked at her and said, "I can't do Marge Simpson's hair." And I said, is this 2021? Are we dealing with that? And who has the audacity to say that to another human being? And there was nothing wrong with her hair. You know, we would have all looked at her hair and said, "Honey, give her some spray and some shine, pat it, we're fine." No big deal. So it has been a fight from day one when you talk about trying to hold on to yourself. And I thank God that I came from theater. So coming from theater, from Broadway, having done Dreamgirls on Broadway, which turns 40 this year, amazingly, which is so hard since I'm only 41 myself. But when I think about the fact that I came to the industry knowing how to do my face, I came to the industry knowing what to do with my hair. So I was that person, and there's still many just like me, just like Holly. You know, we can be in our own dressing room and do our face and come out and somebody else takes the credit for it. But that's because we've been able to grow and know ourselves. So I'm able to hold on to myself better because I know me. I love me. I like Black straight hair me. I love happy nappy curly me. I love Black weave me. I love Black braid me. I love all of that. And I'm not afraid to fight for all of the parts of me to bring her to the screen, because I love me just the way I am. And that for me has made all of the difference. I love me just the way, Black, dark skin, full lip me. I love me just the way I am. Yeah.
We love you too.
Yeah. I love hearing that, Sheryl Lee, because I have been asked at different times, or I have said, and I've seen shock on some people's faces. Those people are always white people. That if in fact I could choose, to come back, who would I come back as? Or, what race would I come back as? And every single time, hands down, I would come back a Black woman every single time. I absolutely love being a Black woman, and I love being Tina Lifford. And I think that there's a quote, it happens to be mine, but it just says so much about my sense of purpose in all that I do. And the quote is, when you know yourself, you are empowered. When you accept yourself, you are invincible. And we live in a society that is full of ignorance, and it is constantly bumping up against and trying to erode one's sense of self. And when I first stepped into this business, a friend was doing a news show and he hired me to do that. He wasn't paying me any money, but at any rate, I was to be that news anchor, and I sat down in that chair and I couldn't be Connie Chung or Barbara Walters. That was not my calling. I did not have that resonance. I was not a fit. I knew that I was a fit for being an actress. I was a fit for leading with being able to share different emotional truths. That's what I was a fit for. And so my career has been being purposeful in making sure that every single opportunity that I have to be in front of the camera, it is to affirm women I know who feel the way this character feels. Women I know who look the way I look. And I'll tell you a secret, and this literally is a secret. No one knows this, but now everyone will. So when I went and auditioned for Aunt Vi, just reading the sides that they gave me and understanding who she was, I knew that this woman would be best communicated as a buxom woman. It wasn't about her breasts for the sake of breasts, but our community is full of buxom women, and a hug from those women feels so good. And I am not buxom, not in the least, but I knew Aunt Vi was. And so that's where I started. So when you ask the question of how do you hold on to yourself, for me, the answer is I didn't come here to fit into Hollywood. I came here to fulfill what was calling me. And the only way I could do that is to honor me and let all the women whose voices will only be heard through my lips actually have their freedom and full sway through me.
Great. Thank you so much.
Powerful.
I just love this
Powerful.
conversation. Before I clock out, Monique, that line about the macaroni pie, I'm from Barbados, and that's something we say. We say you don't eat from everybody, you gotta taste the person's hand. So like when I heard that line, it was like, yes. I'm like, yes, that's a West Indian, like that's a West Indian thing right there.
Yeah, one of our makeup people, she called it macaroni pie, and I think she's from Trinidad. So that was great. Yeah.
Yeah, we say macaroni pie. We don't say
Yeah,
mac and
no, macaroni pie.